Senate.
In open session, objective of today's meeting, MOR updates on the Bytel project and Northern Ireland Water's review of an investigation of a whistleblower complaint. Final consideration of the draft report on the inquiry into managing legal aid. Preparation for the evidence session on the 23rd of November with Cambridge consultants, and consideration of the committee's draft strategic plan. Can I just advise members all mobile phones must be set to airplane mode and on silent or turned off. It's not just sufficient to put them on silent mode as they continue to interfere with the Assembly's recording. Session has been recorded in video and audio and can be accessed live via online streaming on the Assembly's website or Democracy Live. Members' apologies. I have apologies from Alex Easton and Trevor Lunn. Is anyone else aware of any other apologies?
Gordon Dunn's running late.
Gordon Dunn's coming late.
And apparently Michelle won't be here at all, so apologies for her also, Robin.
Okay. Members, moving on then, chairperson's business. I just advise members on the 19th of September, the committee wrote to the Executive Office regarding the provision of financial assistance to United Airlines and to ask what the political rationale was for approving the grant assistance. When there was no response to this letter, the committee team issued 2 reminders, and in the last reminder they were told that it was under consideration and a reply would issue in due course. Members, to date, no reply has been received. Members, can I suggest that some further we actually write to the Executive Office to ask for a response and highlight the guidance on responding to committee correspondence, because it's well outside the standard 15 days.
Yep.
Members content?
Yep.
Kieran, you're very welcome, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Just a wee bit of input in ministerial direction.
Right. Generally, Chair, or
specifically, whatever.
Well, the only one we've had in this mandate is actually United Airlines one. Yeah. So normally there'd be 4, 5 or 6 a year. We've tended to, believe it or not, more of them than in Whitehall. My counterpart, the CNAG in Whitehall, produced a report in February this year. I'd actually mentioned that and he was more pointing up cases where there should have been ministerial directions and there were none. I suppose a typical case was the saga of the kids company, where I suppose good money was put in after bad, and eventually there was a direction. I think your counterparts at Westminster were saying really there should have been a direction at an earlier stage. I don't have anything on my radar at the moment where I think there hasn't been a direction and there should have been. There's nothing bubbling up. It's not to say there isn't anything out there. The system here has tended to use them fairly frequently, 5 or 6 times a year. Something I'd planned to do is actually do a stock take on the ones to date and maybe come back to the committee at some point in the new year. I think that would be useful, just to do an overview.
Your implication there that we have more than Whitehall, is it because Whitehall are avoiding them, or are we overusing them?
No, well, I think it would be a mixture of both, and there's sort of a two-way risk. If they're overused, then I suppose the currency is devalued, so they should be used where there's serious and important issues. So there's risk of both underuse and overuse. It's also important that they're used consistently across the public service. That one department is inclined to use them more than another. But there are in managing public money, there's clear guidance as to when they should be used. Yeah.
Okay. Members content with that as a direction? We'll receive that feedback when it's complete.
Yep.
Okay. Members, agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting on the 9th of November. Can I refer members to the draft minutes on that meeting, pages 7 to 10 of your pack? Members, are you content with the draft minutes? Content on sign has been as accurate. Members, agenda item 4 under matters arising. Can I refer members to correspondence at pages 12 to 21 from the Department of the Economy regarding an FOI submitted by Mr Pat Donnelly? If members recall, Mr Donnelly had written to the committee regarding a complaint he has with the department that there was a misuse of public funds by an official at Dell. Mr Donnelly worked for a company called Proteus, who acted as a support structure for the ESF Managing Authority in Dell, and he is claiming that Proteus was misinformed about the existence and rejection of a business case for the ESF 2014-2020 programme. He had requested information under FOI at the time of writing to the committee. There had been no response. Kieran, have you anything?
Nothing really to add to this case, Chair.
Okay. Members content to note that we respond to Mr Donnelly, I think, with that, with that answer. Members content?
Great.
Okay, can I refer members then to correspondence at pages 22 to 23 from Mr Tony O'Neill in response to the letter issued to him following comments he made at an ERA committee meeting. Members content to note? Okay. Members' correspondence. Again, refer members to correspondence at pages 25 to 42 from Leo O'Reilly regarding the protocol for the care of the government historical estate. Members, it doesn't affect us directly as a committee, so are we content to note as well?
Good.
Okay, members, agenda item 6 is Northern Ireland Water's response to a suspected fraud and DRD, the review of an investigation of a whistleblower complaint. Again, refer members to correspondence from the Department of Finance at pages 45 to 47. Members, this provides the MOR update on the previous PAC report on Northern Ireland's water response to the suspected fraud and the DRD review of an investigation of a whistleblower complaint. The committee were updated in October 2015, and at that time a request was made to the department to provide a summary of work undertaken by DFP and DOF on the outstanding recommendations. The department advises that all recommendations have now been fully implemented. Kieran, do you want to?
No, I think this is a positive response. There was, I suppose, action outstanding on 3 recommendations, and all of those have now been acted on. I think the really important one was the setting up of a central fraud investigation unit, and that's a direct result of the work of this committee in the past. The fresh guidance issued this year on handling fraud investigations, and so it's fine.
Okay. Can I ask, Kieran, as a controller auditor in general, what's your interaction with that GRIP fraud investigation service? Are they?
Oh, I would have regular meetings with the head of that unit. I think she was in my office probably 3-4 weeks ago.
Right.
So it would have a fair bit of dialogue.
Okay. Are they cross-departmental?
It's not a big team, but it's cross-departmental, yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Members, anything else on that MOR? Content to note. Okay, members, agenda item 7, inquiry into the cross-border broadband initiative, referred to as the Bytel project. Again, refer members to the correspondence from the Department of the Economy at pages 45 to 55 regarding the 12-month Bytel MOR. The Department had provided an update on 7 of the 8 recommendations made at the time of the report in October 2015. Members, in relation to recommendation 7, the Department has advised the committee in March 2016 that no evidence existed that would suggest an escalation of a preliminary investigation would be worthwhile, as no new insights have been provided. Again, Kieran, have you?
The real issue in this case was there should have been a proper investigation at the time, and there wasn't. And by the time the committee got to, the committee recommended, well, even at this late stage, you should have an investigation. But it was so old, the leads had really gone. Even some of the documentation had been longer retained. I've and my team have had extensive discussions with the department to satisfy ourselves that this was at the end of the road. There should have been an investigation much earlier in the system, and it might have yielded, an outcome. So the key lesson in this was to do prompt investigations. So they had a belated go at it, but nothing new had actually surfaced. But it was very, very, very late.
Yeah. I suppose members looking through some of the recommendations and actions planned, if a lot of them had been 2-3 years earlier, we wouldn't have been involved in the RHI investigation we're in at the minute, because there is a near enough a direct read across from the 2 projects. Would that be fair enough to?
I think, Chair, you covered that at the session. I think that's a fair assessment, yes.
Okay, members, anything on that MOR? Okay, members content? Members content now to move into closed session for the rest of the session? Members content?
Yep.
Okay.